If you have no idea what this is, you're in the right place. In this video you'll learn everything you need to know about dice and dice rolls to play Dungeons and Dragons. Which one do I need to roll again? It's the one with a 20 on the front. Hope you're feeling lucky. Okay, let's roll. Dice are important in D&D. We use them to determine uncertain outcomes and variable values. For example, whether an attack hits and how much damage it deals if it does. You'll typically roll dice many times in every D&D session, so it's important to understand them. In D&D we use 7 different kinds of dice to play. We call each type of die D, followed by the range of values on the die. For example, the typical 6-sided die is called a D6 because it has 6 possible values, 1 to 6. The most commonly used die in D&D is the D20, which has 20 sides and 20 possible values, 1 to 20. We use it to determine the outcome of attacks with weapons or spells, skill checks and saving throws, among other things. Most of the other dice are mainly used for damage or healing rolls. These include the D4, D6, D8, D10 and D12. The final die is the D100, which has results in increments of 10, between 0 and 90, or 10 and 100, depending on how you read the result. This is used along with the D10 to make a percentage roll, which has results between 1 and 100. Percentage rolls are mostly used by the DM to determine random results on tables, for example magic item rewards. Your DM should tell you when you need to roll dice. They might say something like, "Make me a perception check," or "Make me an attack roll." There are a lot of rules in D&D, and this video includes most of the rules that apply to dice rolls. When you're just getting started on your adventure, it's good to have a basic understanding of the rules, but you don't need to know everything by heart. Treat this video as a reference that you can come back to if you need a reminder. I've made a set of printable reference cards that you can use to jog your memory about the rules while you play. You can get these for free from my website, link in the description. Let's look at some of the rolls that you're likely to make and what you need to know about them. The die that you'll roll most often while you're playing D&D is the D20. Most D20 rolls can be rolled with advantage or disadvantage. You should be asked when to make a roll with advantage or disadvantage, or it should otherwise be obvious. Rolls made with advantage have a higher likelihood of a positive outcome. To make a roll with advantage, roll 2 D20s or roll the same D20 twice and use the highest result from both dice to calculate your total. Rolls made with disadvantage are less likely to have a positive outcome. To make a roll with disadvantage, roll 2 D20s or the same D20 twice and use the lowest result from both dice to calculate your total. One of the most common rolls in D&D is the skill check, which determines whether your character is successful in using a skill or not. Examples of this include your character trying to open a locked door or trying to convince someone to share a secret with you. To roll a skill check, roll a d20 and add your character's skill bonus to the roll, as well as any situational modifiers, for example from spells like guidance or abilities like bardic inspiration, and then determine the total value. Your character's skill bonus depends on their bonus in the relevant ability score and whether your character is untrained in the skill or has proficiency or expertise in it. You can find your character's bonus to each skill in their character sheet or journal. Your DM will set a difficulty check or DC for the skill check, which is the number that you need to meet or beat to get a positive result. In some cases, your DM may set multiple difficulty checks, which give increasingly positive results when met. You may be asked to make a skill check roll with advantage or with disadvantage, making it more or less likely for it to succeed. A common reason to make a skill check with advantage is because an ally used the help action to help you making the skill check. You may need to make a skill check with disadvantage because your character is exhausted or for a situational reason, for example because you're trying to follow tracks during the night. If you roll a 1 on your skill check, you're likely to fail the check regardless of your character's skill bonus or any situational modifiers. If you roll a 20, you're likely to succeed regardless of bonuses. As per the rules as written, there are no other effects for rolling a 1 or a 20 on a skill check, but your DM may apply extra rules in these cases. Can I see anything behind the bushes? Make me a perception check. I rolled a 4 and my perception bonus is 0, so 4. Yeah, you don't see anything behind the bushes. Technically, skill checks are a type of ability check, but skill checks are far more common than ability checks that don't use a skill. Your DM might ask you to roll an ability check when a task requires the use of an ability but not a skill, for example using strength to move a heavy boulder. To make an ability check, you roll a d20 and add your character's relevant ability bonus and any situational modifiers. At the start of each combat, all player characters, allies and enemies involved will need to make an initiative roll. This determines the turn order for each actor in the combat. To make an initiative roll a d20 and add your character's initiative bonus and any situational modifiers to determine the total value. By default, your character's initiative bonus is equal to their dexterity modifier, but other bonuses may apply too. If you roll high on your initiative roll, you'll be more likely to take your turns before other actors in the combat, while if you roll low, you'll be more likely to take your turns after other actors. If your character and other actors in the combat roll the same initiative total, then your DM might compare initiative bonuses to determine who goes first. If your character has the higher initiative bonus, then you will go before the other actors. If your character has a lower initiative bonus, then you'll go after the other actors. Rolling a 1 or a 20 on an initiative roll has no special effect other than making it more or less likely that you'll go first in the turn order. You may be asked to make an initiative roll with advantage or disadvantage, making it more or less likely that you'll go first in the turn order, but this is rare. As you fail to notice the horde of goblins hiding behind the bushes, they jump out and attack you. Time to roll initiative. Okay, well, I rolled a 2 and my initiative bonus is +3, so 5? This might hurt. Yeah, it might. An attack roll is used to determine whether your attack hits your target or not. To make an attack roll a d20 and add your character's attack bonus plus any situational modifiers, for example from spells such as Bless. Your character's attack bonus when making a weapon attack is equal to their strength or dexterity modifier, depending on the type of weapon that they use, plus their proficiency bonus. If your character can cast spells and makes a spell attack, then your attack bonus is equal to your spellcasting ability modifier, for example intelligence, for the wizard, plus your proficiency bonus. You can find your character's attack bonus with different types of attacks on their character sheet or journal. The total result on your attack roll is compared against your target's armor class. If your result meets or beats your target's armor class, then your attack will hit and you'll likely need to make a damage roll. If your result doesn't meet your target's armor class, then your attack misses. You may be asked to make an attack roll with advantage or disadvantage, making it easier or harder to hit. Common reasons you might get to make an attack roll with advantage is if your DM uses the optional flanking rule and you're flanking your opponent, or if your opponent has been blinded. Common reasons you may need to make an attack roll with disadvantage include if you're trying to make a ranged attack while an enemy is within 5 feet of you, if you're trying to make a ranged weapon attack beyond your weapon's effective range, or if your character has been blinded. If you roll a 1 on your attack roll, your character will miss with their attack regardless of their bonuses. This is called a critical miss. Some DMs may have other things happen on a critical miss, for example your character dropping their weapon. If you roll a 20 on an attack roll, then your character will hit regardless of bonuses. This is called a critical hit. Different DMs treat critical hits in different ways, for example having you roll your character's damage dice twice, or rolling them just once but doubling the result. But either way you can expect to do more damage on a critical hit. I tried to clobber the closest goblin with my warhammer. Okay, make me an attack roll. I rolled a 4 and my attack modifier is +8, so 12 in total. That misses, I'm afraid. Better luck next time. A saving throw is a roll that you may need to make to avoid or resist harmful effects, such as avoiding an arrow trap or resisting the full force of a fireball. To make a saving throw roll a d20 and add your character's saving throw bonus in the relevant ability, as well as any situational modifiers, for example from spells like resistance. Your character's saving throw bonus for each ability depends on their modifier for that ability and whether they have proficiency in that type of saving throw. You can find your character's saving throw bonuses on their character sheet or journal. Every saving throw you make will have a difficulty check or DC. If you meet or beat the effect's difficulty check, then you will mitigate or negate the effect. If you don't meet the difficulty check, you will take the full force of the effect. You may be asked to make a saving throw with advantage or disadvantage, making it easier or harder to succeed. Rolling a 1 or 20 on a saving throw has no special effect, but you'll most likely fail most checks on a roll of 1 and succeed them on a roll of 20. Okay, so the goblin with his hand in a barrel takes a lump of mouldy cheese from it and throws it at you, hitting you right in the face. Make me a constitution saving throw to see if you can stomach the smell. The difficulty check is 8. Well, fortunately for me, I have proficiency in constitution saves and I have a +6 bonus, so I'll definitely succeed. Nat 1. Okay, the smell of the mouldy cheese overcomes you and you gag a little. You have disadvantage on your next attack roll. A concentration check is a special type of constitution saving throw that's used to maintain your character's concentration on a spell when they take damage. To make a concentration check, roll a d20 and add your character's constitution saving throw bonus to the result. A difficulty check is set for the check depending on how much damage your character took. The difficulty check is equal to whichever is highest between 10 or half the damage your character took rounded down. If your total on the concentration check meets or beats the difficulty check, then your character maintains concentration on the spell. If your total doesn't meet the difficulty check, then you lose concentration on the spell and its effects end immediately. You can find your character's constitution saving throw bonus, which you use for making concentration checks, in their character sheet or journal. You may be asked to make concentration checks with advantage or disadvantage, making it easier or harder to pass them. Common reasons that you'll get to make concentration checks with advantage are if you've taken specific features that let you do this. For example, the Warcaster feat, or the Eldritch Mind invocation for the Warlock. Rolling a 1 or 20 on a concentration check has no special effect, but you'll likely fail most checks on a roll of 1 and succeed them on a roll of 20. The goblin critically hits you with its scimitar and you take 12 damage. But I have blur up, so the goblin gets disadvantage. Are you sure it's a crit? Yeah, it rolled 20 twice, it's not your lucky day. Tell me about it. Oh, that's right, you're concentrating on blur. Make me a concentration check. Oh yeah, well I have Warcaster, so I roll twice and keep the highest. Okay, so my highest roll was a 12 and I have +6 to the roll, so 18, and that beats the DC of 10, so I'm good. Finally, I passed a roll. Each time your character starts a turn in combat with 0 hit points, you'll need to make a death saving throw. This is a d20 roll where you don't add anything to the result. These special saving throws give you death saving throw successes or failures, and you can get up to 3 of each. If you get 3 successes, then your character stabilizes at 0 hit points and doesn't need to make death saving throws anymore, but they can't act until they regain 1 or more hit points. If you get 3 failures, your character dies. If you're watching this video before your first game of D&D, don't worry. If your character gets dropped to 0 hit points, one of your allies will probably heal or stabilize them before they die. It's also possible to revive characters that died recently, but this may be hard or impossible at lower levels. If you roll a 10 on your death saving throw, you get a death saving throw success, and your character will be more likely to stabilize than they were before the roll. If you get less than 10 on the roll, then you get a death saving throw failure, and your character will be more likely to die than they were before they made the roll. If you roll a 1 on your death saving throw, you get 2 failures, and your character will be much more likely to die than before they made the roll. If you roll a 20, then your character regains a hit point and you'll be able to take your turn as normal in combat, but you'll begin that turn prone. Well, it's your turn and you're still on 0 hit points, so make me a death save. I rolled a 6, which fails, and I already had 2 failures, so I guess it's time to roll a new character. How did this group of goblins manage to kill my level 6 character again? Don't worry, it's only for the purposes of this video. Thunderstone is the tankiest around. There's no way he's going to get killed by a bunch of goblins. As with any hobby, specific language has evolved for D&D over time. The following language is used for certain results on a d20 roll. Rolling a natural or nat 1 means that you rolled a 1 on the die before applying any bonuses or penalties. Regardless of what you were rolling for, it's likely that you'll get a poor outcome. Likewise, rolling a natural or nat 20 means that you rolled a 20 on the die before applying any bonuses or penalties. Regardless of what you were rolling for, you'll likely get a good outcome, and if you were making an attack roll, then that means a guaranteed critical hit. Rolling a dirty 20 means that your total value after you applied any bonuses or penalties to the number that you rolled is equal to 20. It's likely that you'll get a good outcome, but this isn't guaranteed even for attack rolls, as some enemies may have more than 20 armor class. Unlike the rows we've looked at so far, the following rows don't typically use d20s but use different types of dice instead. If you hit with an attack, you'll likely need to make a damage roll. To make a damage roll, roll a number of dice depending on the weapon or spell that you're using and add any bonuses. For an attack with a weapon, your character's standard bonus is equal to your character's strength or dexterity score depending on which attribute you use to make the attack. Extra bonuses may be applied on top of this, for example from the Barbarian's Rage ability or the Hex or Hunter's Mark spells. You can find your character's damage bonus with each of their weapons in their character sheet or journal. For spells, no bonus is typically applied. To determine the dice you need to roll, look at the spell description. Great, you finally managed to hit a goblin with your attack. Make me a damage roll. Awesome! So my Warhammer does d8 damage and I have a +4 bonus. I rolled a 1, so my total's 5. My lucky day. There are a few different ways to regain lost hit points in D&D. 2 of these involve healing rolls, which you may make because your character is subject to a healing effect from a spell or magic item, or when your character takes a short rest. If your character is subject to a spell or magic item that causes healing, the indicated number of dice in the spell or item description is rolled, and any relevant bonuses are added to it. If a fellow player casts a healing spell on you, then they may roll the dice or they may ask you to, and the bonus may depend on their character's spellcasting ability modifier. If you drink a healing potion, then you roll the dice and add the bonus. When you work out the total healing, restore that many hit points to your character up to their hit point maximum. You can find your character's current and maximum hit points in their character sheet or journal. As the goblins have somehow managed to evade all of my attacks and keep critting me, so I'm now on 5 hit points. I guess I'll drink my potion of healing? Okay, roll for the healing, it's 2d4 plus 2. I rolled 6, so that's 8 with a +2. Hopefully the goblins will stop critting me now? Yeah, good luck with that. When your character takes a short rest, they can spend hit dice to regain lost hit points. The maximum hit dice your character has available depends on their classes and how many levels they have in each class. To spend a hit die when you short rest, roll one of your character's hit dice and add their constitution modifier to the roll. Then heal that many hit points up to your character's maximum hit points and mark the hit die as used. You can spend hit die one by one until you've healed as much as you want to, or roll many hit dice at once. You can find your character's maximum and available hit dice and constitution modifier in their character sheet or journal. Okay, since I felt sorry for you because of all your bad luck and I had a wandering cleric come and revive you on 1 hit points, what do you want to do next? I guess I better take a short rest and heal. I'll take shelter in the goblin camp that the wandering cleric kindly cleared out for me. Okay, nothing happens when you rest, you can roll for your healing. A 1 again? Well, I had 3, so I heal for 4. You know, I really hope my luck improves in the next video. Yeah, let's see about that. Most D&D players love their dice collection and build one up over time, but where do you start? You can get a basic set of dice in the D&D Essentials Kit or Starter Set, which each also include basic game rules and everything you need to start your adventure. Most hobby stores with a role-playing section will sell D&D dice in a range of styles and likely individual dice too. There are also many third-party creators that create dice in more styles than you can imagine, and some of these are really spectacular. I'm part of the Tabletop Creator Hub, a worldwide group of creators with a shared vision of supporting the tabletop and role-playing community, and many hub creators make dice. You can find a link to the hub website in the description to check out what's on offer. If you intend to play D&D online, then you can use virtual dice on whichever platform you use to play, such as D&D Beyond, Roll20 or Foundry. A range of peripherals are available to help you look after and store your dice. You can store your collection in dice bags or boxes, which come in a range of styles. To make sure dice don't slide across the table or get lost under it, many adventurers prefer to roll dice on dice trays. You can get permanent or collapsible trays in a range of styles. A slightly more exotic version of the dice tray is the dice tower, where you put dice in the top and they magically roll out of the bottom. Again, you can get these in a range of styles. Some players like to keep dice jails to teach dice that roll badly a lesson. You can get these in a range of styles too. If you're just getting started on your adventure, you probably have lots of questions. I make resources that help make your adventures easier and more immersive, including my character journal, which lets you print custom journals for your characters at home. The journal includes detailed trackers that make it easy to understand your character's abilities, and rules reminders for things like death saving throws, concentration checks, and what to do during a rest, making your adventure that much easier. With over 300 covers to choose from in a range of styles and colours, you can make a custom journal fit for every character. You can get 10% off everything in my store, including the journal, using code YouTube10 at checkout. I hope this video helped you on your journey. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more videos like this one, and until next time, happy adventuring!